Hardcore Boxing News, and that's what's up, man.
Hey, Dad. This is Dollar.
And that's what's up, man. Okay,
Hey, Dad.
you gonna come on here and just break news just like that, huh?
This is Dollar.
Hey, it's your boy Jay Hardcore Boxing News. What you got going on, bro? We out of here. Hey, it's your boy Jay Hardcore Boxing News. I'm here with my guy Manny Rivera, Hard Hitting Promotions. How you doing today, bro?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed as always, my brother. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here.
I tell you what, being blessed is a beautiful thing.
Amen. Amen to that.
I love being blessed. Man, I want to get your story, man, because I heard you have a beautiful story. You know what I mean? So what got you into the whole boxing industry?
Oh, wow. I mean, that just goes back to the childhood. I mean, two facets, right? We're talking about the business of boxing and the love of boxing. The love of boxing came as a child in the island of Puerto Rico. You know, that's where the love of the sport came in at. The business of boxing really came by necessity, not necessarily for me, but for people that I cared about and that, you know, needed someone that understood business first and foremost and cared for them to make sure that, you know, they get what they're deserving of and what is fair to them.
Wow, you said a lot just now, man. I mean, for you to say that you got into the business to make sure that people get what they deserve, you know, those are strong words right there coming from a promoter, you know what I mean? Because promoters always get the bad look, you know what I'm saying? And you're saying that you got into the game to clean that up is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, that's how I got into the business side of the sport, was really because of that. So, you know, fast track, when I came to Philadelphia, I'm originally obviously from Puerto Rico. Like I said, I was born in Puerto Rico, but I was raised in, not to get into my past, but basically I was raised between Jersey City, New Jersey, and New York. You know, we moved a lot as a child. My parents moved a lot. So, but I was raised in that area, right? At the age of about 17, 18 years old, right after school, I moved to Philadelphia. My mother moved to Philadelphia with my sisters. I stood in New York at the time. I was self-sustained on my own. So, but because of, once again, the need of my mother needing a male role model in the home for my younger sisters, you know, I moved to Philadelphia to make sure that I, you know, provided that for my younger sisters. So that's how I moved into Philadelphia. Had a family member that used to be a professional boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I really got into the business of the sport. Was you know, he invited me to one of his events. He was fighting on the undercard of Andrew Galata, in the Tropicana in Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
And he invited me to the show. But more than that, he really got me access to go to in the back and, you know, be with him in the locker room and, you know, see the things that most people don't get to see, right?
Right.
So at that time, the fighters did not get paid by the commission, meaning now you pay the commission, you give the check to the commission makes sure that the fighter gets paid, signs it off, so on, so on. Back then, it was you would go and see the promoter either during the show, but more than likely it would be after the show. So after the show, you would go up to his suite and you would meet with the promoter, and the promoter would pay you whatever you know your purse was.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular fight, we went up to the promoter. His trainer was trainer called manager. Nowadays, everybody wants to have 3, 4 different roles, which to each his own, right? But I see the conversation. I'm there. I see the conversation. I'm talking to my cousin, and we're kind of like by the door. The trainer slash promoter manager is talking to the promoter. I see an exchange of money. I see, he calls the fighter over. The fighter gets the money. They keep talking, and there's another exchange of money. Money goes in the pocket. Me, I'm just I always been, I guess, the survival instinct.
Observant.
Yes, very observant of my surroundings, what I see, what's going on. So I just asked my cousin what was that about, and he had no clue. He said, I don't know. I said, well, I think you should, because you're the product here. You're I understood business. I didn't understand the boxing business, but I understood business. At the end of the day, you should know you're the product. You're the reason why any type of money is being exchanged. So I think that's something that you should know. That should be a question. And make a long story short, that led into, you're right. Why don't you stay around me? Why don't you look out for me in that case? Because, me, I just focus on fighting. And that led into me getting into the business of the sport of boxing.
Mm. Wow. And the business of the sport of boxing, man, for one, it's not regulated. You know what I mean? So it's wide open, and there's so much stuff that happens behind the scene that people can't even fathom. You know what I mean? So, but your aspect on the fighter being the boss, it seems like it only happens when they're at the top level, when they can actually start saying, hey, you work for me. Would you agree or not?
I think it has to do with the problem that I think we all go through life, with any aspect of life. I think it's the same issue, right? There's been I'm trying to look for the word that kind of describes all of it in one, but I'll explain it. We have been taught, right, that certain things are what they are for a reason, right? And whether that reason is true or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in boxing, that is very, very, since we're talking about the sport of boxing, in boxing, that is very, prevalent. It really goes to the core of the sport, where you're just a athlete. Your job is, in other words, your job is just to fight. Your job is not to worry about the money. Your job is not to worry about the business side. Your job is just to train and fight. And in reality, that's been most fighters understand of what they're getting into. I focus on this, and I have to get somebody to focus on that. And unfortunately, when you put your faith on a person, you're risking a lot, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game, man. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, they are the product, but yet since they are the product and none of this stuff happens without them, they supposed to be the boss. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the word that I was looking for, it's a paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if people understand what a paradigm is, but a
I
paradigm
do.
is
Mm-hmm.
something
Sure.
that you was told,
Mm-hmm.
that something that you was taught to the point that you truly believe it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not so.
It's not. Yeah, it's
Um,
because it's black and white.
correct. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain it. It's like in society, it is taught it, and it is, majority understood that um corporations are the ones that produce jobs, right? That's accepted in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bail out the corporations because they're the ones who produce jobs. That's a paradigm, because that's not necessarily true. The ones that produce jobs are the consumers, which are the people. Because you could have any company in the world, but if there's no one buying the product, then there is no company, there is no job. You know what I mean? So the more the consumers of that product, the more jobs are available. So at the end of the day, who is the true employer? Is the consumer. The more consumers to a business, the more jobs that business is going to create. But the catalyst to it is the consumer, which goes back to the people. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I get into the politics of that, but that's that's the paradigm of boxing. The truth is, you need a manager to 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 actually make
Navigate.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. I 100% agree with what you're saying, that you need a manager and a promoter. You know what I mean? But all I'm
correct.
saying is the fighter the boss?
Well, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. That's the paradigm of boxing, that
Right.
you need.
Because
You know,
the only reason I say that is because you say that the consumer buys the product. But if the product is not there, what is there to buy?
well, there's always something else.
But it's always more product, right?
Correct. There's always more product.
Okay, but it's certain product that is top more than other product, correct?
That's dictated by the consumer, though. If no one is willing to buy a pair of Jordans for $150, would Jordans truly be worth $150?
No, not if nobody's willing to buy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
So,
somebody has to make it prevalent and worth what it is. Yeah, no doubt. I agree. I agree. I was just trying to see who is the Indian, who is the chief and who is the Indians. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying,
no,
because
absolutely.
yeah. And that's
So,
why I wanted you on there, because you're a promoter, man. And from what I understand, you're a damn good promoter, So I like
by
that.
by title. So, right, it's by title, and that's all it is a title in life. Unfortunately, everyone wants to have a title. That's a title that is given, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a title that is given.
Uh-huh.
Um, just like everything else, right? Um, but you are what you represent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say I'm a person that the creator chose to infiltrate this sport
Mm-hmm.
for the need of the sport. My goal is truly not to be the biggest boxing promoter. My goal is to influence a certain culture within the boxing community. Um, it's and that's not to get into anything else, but that's truly my goal, is to infiltrate a certain culture into this community, a
Mm-hmm.
culture of right, right, of doing right,
Mm-hmm.
what we call righteousness, a story of you know what's right is right, and um that shouldn't be
Taken advantage of.
advantage of, or leaving it at the door for whatever other reason. There is no reason why your morals, right, should
Mm-hmm.
be should be you know, changed. You know, your morals are your morals. That's what you believe in. That's what you will never break, no matter how much money. There's a big saying that everything has a price. Well, that depends on who you talk
Yeah,
to, or
right.
or what they believe, right? Um, because to me, money is a necessity to get things done, but money is not what you need to be happy, to have a great life, to
Hmm.
to have a good marriage or anything like that. Money is, to me, money is only a tool to get things done. In other
Well,
words, if
but
you want
that's
to
what
be,
that's what the word says. Money answers all things. That's what the word
so
says.
I love that you said that, brother, because see, I've learned something, right? That's the basis of my whole life, right? That's the laws that I live by.
Me too.
Although I live in the United States, right, which has a certain basis of laws that you have to obey. I obey the laws of where I am.
But you're not of this world. I
They don't
understand, brother.
exact. They don't contradict the laws of where I come from
Hmm.
and where I'll go. You know,
I
so
feel you.
so that's basically it. I didn't really want to get to it, but glory to
No,
the Creator that put that in you to expose that.
hey, bruh. It's our platform. What happened? Well, hello, hello. Yeah, I think you got to turn your audio on. Click audio. I'm hearing you. This now. Can you hear me?
Okay, now.
There we
Wow.
go. We was
Wow,
getting
brother, I
hot.
don't want to get into this, but oh man, there is no coincidence. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Wow, I didn't really want to get into this, but there is no coincidence that we got into a certain subject and all types of problems happen.
Yeah, well, you know who is the run of this world, though, right? They don't want this.
especially me, especially media,
Yeah,
especially media.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but but glory to him, right?
No doubt.
Uh, um, but yeah, so going on this, um, so that's how I started the sport of boxing, was really with that understanding of it was a need to it, um, and I was able to help in that need. Um, Talking about the paradigms of the sport of boxing, right? The
Hmm.
sport of boxing, you would have to say, and people argue this with me all the time, but it's definitely one of the major sports, especially in America, and it's really, really growing in other parts of the world, right?
Hmm.
Um, but let's just stick to America, as is a paradigm. Once again, is a belief that you're not the best unless you fight the best in America, or the
That's right.
best American fighter, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So if we go into American sports, as boxing as one of the major sports, um, in football, there's such a thing called an agent. In baseball, there's such a thing called an agent.
Hmm.
And soccer and so on and so forth, right? They're called agents. agent's role is no different than what, quote unquote, a manager's role is in the sport of boxing.
Correct.
Here's the complete opposite, though. Here's how it works completely opposite. In any of those major sports, the the understanding is that the agent is hired by by the athlete, right?
Right.
The agent only gets paid when he produces money for the athlete.
Correct.
And there's a certain percentage that's negotiated.
Right.
Right? The athlete hires and or fires the agent. That is the complete opposite of the sport of boxing.
Right. That's what I'm talking about right there, bro.
It is the complete opposite.
Complete opposite.
None of them are alike, right? But now every other major sport runs that way. In boxing, the manager and what's more of the shame is that the fighter understands that, or once again, the paradigm, right? They have a belief that a manager is there to financially help you, right? No other sport like that, right? The manager is there to financially help you, meaning to buy you what you need, to maybe give you a certain amount of money, weekly, bi-weekly, however you negotiate that. And that typically, in most cases, is what a fighter is looking for. Not somebody that typically knows the sport and or business behind it. So what's happening is he that pays you controls you.
That's right.
That's just that is just the the it's of it, right?
That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why that's happening in boxing. I'll manage you. I've seen it so much through the years. I've seen fighters, oh, my uncle's my manager, my cousin's my manager, my next door neighbor's my manager. The sponsor that he had for 3 years all of a sudden became his manager. I mean, it's just incredible with what's happening. And they have no idea about the negotiations that need to go on to protect that fighter. In most cases, it's just somebody that has some disposable income. It is cool for him and or his peers to say, I have a fighter. Right? Oh, I have this fighter. Oh, I have that fighter. Once again, I have, right? The mindset where you'll never hear an agent say, I have. An agent says, I represent. Right? Such athlete, such and such athlete. So it's just a different type of mindset that occurs in the sport of boxing that is unlike any other sport that you would have. And it's for a reason. Just like the governments of this world, it is to their benefit, and I'll say their meaning promoters, it is to their benefit that ignorance reigns. Right?
Yes. That is so true.
I go through this all the time. Oh man, I have so much to say, but so little time, and it's so much. But nevertheless, I think that's the biggest problem in boxing. I just encountered one. I just encountered something a couple days ago with trying to make a fight. Make a long story short, I call a manager that is listed as the fighter's manager. I call him, send him a text, this and that. Calls me back. Yes, what are the details? Give him the details. He then sends me a text back, basically saying he does not want the fight because the other fighter's manager that I'm putting the fight with, he doesn't get along with him. So because he doesn't get along with the other fighter's manager, he don't want to do business. So you get,
Yeah.
so it's incredible what you have to deal, the ignorance that there is. So now, who gets hurt in that scenario?
The fighter.
The fighter. The fighter, because you're putting your career, you know, in the hands of someone that is typically making decisions for you according to his
knowledge,
feelings, knowledge, do not want. So that decision was made not for the benefit of the fighter. That decision was made for his benefit,
right?
Whatever that is. And that's
heavy.
the opposite of what management should be. It's not about you. It's about the athlete.
About the athlete. And I think that's why we had so much of a big problem with Spence and Crawford getting across the finish line. Yeah, man, because a lot has to do with ignorance. A lot got to do with management. A lot got to do with egos. You know what I mean? And then when you stir all that into the pot, man, you just get a big mess. You know what I mean? And it keeps us away from all the beautiful fights that we can possibly have. Now, someone did tweet today that the fight has been, quote, signed for June the 17th. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to be announced on Tank's card April the 22nd. Now, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because that is one particular fight that I actually like to see and be there as well. Because I feel though you got two guys right at, I won't say they at their prime, but they at the end of their prime. So they still good enough to really give us a good showdown of who's the best man at 147. You know what I mean? But the business of boxing has just held us back so long.
Well, excuse me. Once again, sorry to keep using that word, right?
The paradigm.
The paradigm, right?
I'll tell you, I've been wanting to have this conversation about this particular fight with you because I wanted to hear promoters speak about it, opposed to hearing different fighters or hearing different trainers. I wanted to hear it from a promoter's aspect because you know what's going on.
Well, I don't sit here and say I know because obviously everyone, you know, they have two different entities,
right,
going on, and I don't know exactly what is each agenda, right? But just speaking as a boxing fan and someone that, you know, knows the business a little bit, I don't portray to know it all. I obviously, as I learn as I go. But once again, the paradigm, right? Here it is. The purses of fighters are dictated by who?
By the managers.
By the consumer.
Consumer. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No doubt.
Right. The consumer. Once again, it goes back to us.
The consumer. How much is the fighter's worth? Right.
How much is the fighter's worth goes back to us on how many consumers will they be for this fight, right? So it really goes back to us. Now, in boxing today, I'm a bridge a gap that's happening. In boxing today, what is the percentage of consumers that are like me and you? Meaning, when I say me and you, meaning that know a little bit about the sport of boxing, understands a little bit about the sport of boxing, and are true boxing fans.
Hardcores.
In today's market. What's that percentage?
Small.
Right? Okay.
Small.
as we understand. We're
Right.
small. So the actual larger percentage today in today's boxing
It's
are
casuals.
people that really don't know the sport of boxing.
Facts.
The marketing is what drives the sales of it, right? This is why there's such a revolution in today's boxing with social media boxing,
Mhm,
with meaning influencers
mhm,
like the Paul brothers and all these different, social media stars that are coming into boxing and making more money than superstars in the sport, than people that truly dedicated their life to this sport,
mhm.
that we know that would beat any of them, you know, in 1 or 2 rounds. But it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
That's not what generates the purses. It's the consumers.
Right.
Again. And because the consumers are not knowledgeable, that's why. So when it comes to this fight, right? When it comes to this Spencer, no different than the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd
And Floyd
Mayweather.
Mayweather. Yeah.
That fight was maybe 6 years, 7 years past
Mer-
the time for us, the hardcore fans, to
mhm,
see it.
mhm.
Plus, when it happened, not only did it gain the hardcore fans, because that's who we are. We're gonna watch it. We're watching.
Regardless. Regardless.
Let's be honest. You know what I mean? So,
I used to
so
watch my kids fight, man. So I'm horrible.
exactly. So it's let's give it some time. Let's give it. That's why I give so much credit to Tank and Garcia now, that they're making this fight when they're making it. I truly am giving so much credit to these two young men. Yes, I know. I've heard all the rumors. I heard all the stipulations and this. And regardless, they're making it fun. They're
and
making
a,
it
and a,
work.
and a lot of it's cap too, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's all hype. It's all part of the promotional, right?
Right.
From each side to the other. But they're making it happen. That's why I give so much credit to this. But going back to that fight, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's definitely one of the most sought after fights, right?
Hmm.
But it's simply, to me, is it really gonna be that good of a fight?
Mm.
Or is it the allure that it's really more to see, without any argument, who is the best in that division,
Hmm.
in with between these two guys that
Hmm.
are undefeated, this is why the undefeated record holds so much ground in today's boxing. It was never so in boxing. Never so in boxing.
Mayweather made it popular.
Well, because of the paradigm of it. It's there's no true. Mayweather's a genius
Oh
in
man, he is a genius.
understanding and obviously I believe, right, and I would be ignorant to not understand that, you know as much as he went with it and embraced it, there were some people behind, the scene that kind of, made him see this, right? They gave him the magic glasses so he can see what not what it appears to be, but what it
What it
actually
is.
is.
Yeah.
And he wrote it out and really changed, the game of boxing when it came to the 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 sanctionings, meaning the titles and at a certain level, do they dictate how big the fight is or not? I mean, there's so many different um paradigms in the sport of boxing that Mayweather exposed.
He did.
Um,
He did. And he made them pay. He made him pay, and he had a beautiful machine behind him, a well-oiled machine behind him. I mean, with Ellaby, with Swanson, all of them. I mean, they were really smart on making everything happen. And Floyd understood the black hat character, and he exploited it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. He understood that before
And
Floyd.
on
I mean,
Al Heyman. I don't know why I didn't
yeah,
even mention him first, but yeah.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure, for sure.
exactly. But
Here,
you know,
here
that's
go,
That's Kaiser Sorsay. So you seldom seen, you know what I mean? And you know,
well,
also
I mean,
Sam
Al Heyman.
Watson. Yeah.
Yeah, Al Heyman. Al Heyman. Speaking about Al Heyman, talking about right what I was mentioning it before.
Mm-hmm.
Al Heyman. I believe Al Heyman was a boxing fan all his life, right? Being an African American.
His brother fought.
Yeah,
Bobby.
his brother
Yeah.
fought, and coming from the era where he comes from, I mean, boxing was baseball and boxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In his younger days, so I'm pretty sure he was a boxing fan, but that wasn't his business. That wasn't how.
Promotion. Yeah, promotions.
It was promotion, and more defined, it was the music.
Music.
Promotion.
That's right.
Right.
But
so
why the Superfest?
Absolutely. But so all he did was he brought what kind of knowledge? Business knowledge. That's all he did. He brought that knowledge into the sport of boxing. Understood that it has nothing to do with. He didn't. All right, let me say it this way. He didn't fall to the paradigms.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I hear what you're saying.
He understood the paradigms, but he didn't fall to the paradigm.
Right. He took business and put it on top and let it do its thing.
He exploited the paradigms. Right? So it was understood that for you to be a promoter, you had to have a title. That's the paradigm. You had to have a title of a promoter. You had to have a promoter's license. You had to have this to negotiate for a fighter. You had to be a manager
or advisor. Right? Yeah.
The laws said that
you can't do both.
That the promoter, exactly, you can't do both. The promoter is the one that holds, has the rights to the fighter's likeness, this, that, blah, 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 this and that. We're not talking about a t-shirt. We're not talking about a pair of sneakers.
Right.
We're not talking about a tree. We're not talking about things that are alive or not alive, that can't speak for themselves, that can't think for themselves. So what he said was, okay, this is the paradigm. It is not so. We're talking about human beings, which I know that they can think for themselves. They can change their minds. Today they think this, tomorrow they think this. Guess what? I'm going to come in as an advisor. Right?
That was heavy when he did.
Which was not unique. There was other advisors, but not with the implementation that he did it with. Not with the agenda that he did it with. An advisor was another, basically, manager. You know what I mean? What he did was, I'm going to go in as an advisor, which now the law, right? It's not by paradigm, but it's by law. Now the law can't say I can't not manage, quote unquote, advise a fighter that's with Top Rank, a fighter that's with, Matchroom, a fighter that's not with, so on and so forth, promoter. I'm not a promoter.
That's right.
I'm just advisor. So listen, young man, let me advise you. I advise you not to take this fight. Oh, but I need the money. Don't worry about the money. Here you go. Sit down. Relax. Right?
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, it came a point where, yes, I want to fight, but I'm fighting for the money. Right? So here's the money. Once again, money is there to get what you need and want. It's not what brings you happiness in life.
Right.
That's what he did. He used the money. He used the money to get what he wanted. Okay, I have control now. I have money. I have control. All he did was he took control. So now there's fighters that were signed with Top Rank, that was signed with Golden Boy, that was signed with all these other promotions. And at the end of the day, these are human beings. I don't care what kind of contract you have. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. This is why I tell my fighters when I sign them, right, that it is not about this contract. We're gonna fulfill this. We're gonna agree to this. After this, you know what you're gonna do with that? You're gonna put it in a drawer, and you ain't never gonna look at that thing again. Right now, it's all about this. You ain't never gonna look at that thing again. You know when you're gonna look at that thing again? You're gonna look at that thing again when you no longer want to be together into this promotion. In other words, when there's an issue, that's when you're gonna go back to this contract.
That's true.
So my whole agenda is not about this contract. My whole agenda is that we have a mutual beneficial relationship.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's all it's about. It's no different than a marriage. A lot of people signed this marriage certificate and now they think that, you know, they have the right or they have ownership or whatever. And this is why marriages don't work. If you don't have a good relationship with your fiance, with your girlfriend or whatever, please, and this wasn't about this, but please don't think that a marriage certificate is going to change
it better.
Please do not think that. But this is what happens in today's day all the time. So to me, my whole goal is I don't chase fighters. I truly don't. I don't go. I want to marry anybody that is signed to Hard Hitting. They will tell you. I did not go and say, hey, I really want to sign you. I really think this, that, and the other. It has been something where either organically it came together or they have come to me and say, hey, how can we work and this? And then we talk about terms. And because at the end of the day, I don't care what that piece of paper says. If you don't want to be with me, you are not going to be with me. And then it just causes a whole mess of courts and this and who's right, who's not, blah, blah, blah. And I don't have time to waste. I have time to go forward. You know?
Yes.
But with that being said, my brother, you know, I love this sport. Once again, my whole point is not to be the biggest promoter. My whole point is to influence a certain culture within the sport.
Beautiful.
And that's hard hitting in itself. Hard hitting came about. Give you a quick story on that. The same way I started managing fighters was the same way I saw the need of the promotional side.
Okay.
So when I was managing fighters after my cousin, I managed other fighters, some fighters that were very prominent at a certain time here in Philadelphia. And once I started managing these fighters, what I saw was at the time that it really wasn't about what was fair. Once again, it wasn't about a mutual benefit. It was about a me benefit, meaning the promotional benefit. If it didn't benefit me 100%, then I don't need to. Once again, the paradigm. You need me, I don't need you. So, I mean, and I can go into so many stories that I don't know if you really want to go into, but it was like it was kind of like an extortion type of thing. It's like if you don't deal with me, then you're not going to fight, at least in this area. And there were times where, you know, when you try to deal with another promoter, that promoter would call that promoter and say, "Oh, don't deal with him, this, that." I mean, it's a really, you know, really street a way. I never understood that saying that the pen is mightier than the sword
Mm-hmm.
until I really got into this business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the guys that are truly trying to derail you are guys that are really not physical type guys. If you get what I'm saying,
I got you.
it's
I
not.
got you.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They're just gonna hurt you with the pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
That's it.
and that pen is mightier than the sword.
It sure is,
It'll
because
hurt
if you
you. It'll
use
hurt
the
you more.
sword,
Yeah.
it'll hurt you more. And the reason for it is because if you use the sword, you're only gonna get more hurt by the pen. You know what I mean? So, and I hope that people understand what I'm trying to say with that without actually
Right. Getting
blatantly
into it. Yeah. So
using words.
what's next for your promotion coming? What we got coming up?
So I'm, you know, once again, blessings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a young lady now, named Leanna Cruz,
Okay.
that has joined, us at Hard Hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I had her for a few fights now, and my focus is that exact thing, that um to catapult her
Mm-hmm.
to the next level. She's unbelievable fighter, unbelievable young lady.
What weight
Has
class?
all the She's 114 pounds.
Okay.
114 pounds. Great fighter. I don't know if you've heard of her, but look her up.
I definitely
Um,
will.
yeah, unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent. I think she's really gonna be a superstar in
Well, I
the sport
definitely
of
want to
boxing.
get her on the platform then. Let's
Very soon. Very
yeah.
soon you're gonna see her. One of the things that I was talking to somebody about is
Mm-hmm.
all the great fighters that I had the privilege, right, to be able to have a platform for them to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, going, you know, going by like Jaron Ennis, right? Boots Ennis. Obviously he fought on our cards when he was 2-0,
Mm-hmm.
5-0, 6-0, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But the first for the first time that Jaron Ennis was on Showtime, a network, was on a
Mm-hmm.
Showbox card that
Showbox.
we
Right.
produced
Mm-hmm.
here in Philly,
Mm-hmm.
which was the first time Showbox,
Came to
Showtime in general,
came to
was
Philadelphia.
in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Right,
That
right.
was, to the glory of God, that we were able to make that happen, not
Right.
once but twice.
Right.
The first time that Devin Haney was on
Mm-hmm.
Showtime, on
Mm-hmm.
national television exposure,
Mm-hmm.
was also on our card when he fought Mason Maynard.
Beautiful.
Um, so Hard Hitting has had such an unbelievable blessing in opening so many doors for the sport of boxing, but also for fighters to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Just like some that I mentioned. Um, Also venues. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what I was wondering. Are you still? I know you had a contract for a year in Atlantic City with what was that show? What was
with
it?
the Showboat.
Yeah, with
Yeah, with the
Showboat. Yeah.
Showboat in
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic City. So that went back for years. I mean, the gentleman, one of the gentlemen that run that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get into the details of it. It's
Right.
right now it's run by a management company, but I'm talking about the people that actually own the facility. That's who
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with, not the management company.
Right.
But one of the gentlemen's, I don't want to mention no names, but he approached me like 3 years before I went in there.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the Showboat was really just had gotten bought. It used to be a casino. It wasn't. It was so 3 years. I really didn't want to go there, and the reason at that time, and the reason was because I understand the promotion, right, side of it, the
Mm-hmm.
understanding of people. The venue has just enough to do, then also the athletes that you bring,
Mm-hmm.
right? that's why certain artists in music or whatever, they won't just perform anywhere. It's not just about the money. You
Right.
know what I mean? There's an allure to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, make a long story short, they did a lot of work in those time, and when he came to me, I said, "All right, I'll do it, but I only do it with an exclusivity."
Right.
And I had to um explain to them why, because they didn't want to, and I had to explain to them why I need an exclusivity.
Mhm.
And the way I explained it to them was just like a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
The the core restaurant, it's the cook.
That's
The
right.
restaurant could be as fancy as it wants to be. It could have a great name, great
Right.
location.
Right.
If the
Right.
food tastes good, people are not gonna keep
And they're going
coming.
to associate it with the whole deal. So if another
With
company comes in and they do bad, and you come back, they send it all at one company, not separate.
Well, they associate the place with
Mm-hmm.
the event. So in other
Mm-hmm.
words, I went to a show at the Showboat and it was garbage. I'll never go there again for a
Mm.
show. It's not the promotion. It's like, for instance, Madison Square Garden.
Right.
Anyone could get into Madison Square Garden to do a boxing event. It's not just about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because you have, whatever it is, just to throw a number, $50,000 to rent Madison Square Garden to do a boxing event, that they're gonna let you do the boxing event.
Mm.
It's that place has an allure. That place has a name, so it's only gonna be certain people that can do an event there. To be able to, because it's known. You go to Madison Square Garden to watch a show, it is perceived that you made it. That's the Mecca. Oh my God, this has to be a big show.
Right. Right.
Doesn't matter fighting. You
That's
know what I
true.
mean?
That's true.
So that's the thing with that. So that's why I wanted an exclusive, and I got it, and we did from the from from June to, I think the first show was actually the beginning of July to
Mm-hmm.
December. We did 4 shows.
Mm-hmm.
So we were actually, doing shows probably every month and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just, you move on from there. And now there's other promoters doing shows there, and they're being successful, and I hope that they are also being successful.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved from there, and then I came back to the Fillmore, which wasn't known for boxing
Mm-hmm.
at all. It's known for music. Boxing was never thought of in there until
Mm-hmm.
you know I got the privilege to have a great relationship with the company that owns and runs all these different venues, which is Live Nation, and was able to produce shows at the Fillmore, and now is known as, oh, it's the new Blue Horizon. It's this is beautiful. The ambience fits perfectly, and so
Mm-hmm.
on and so forth. And to this day, I'm privileged to say that I've been the only professional boxing, or I think any other sport, that has been able to do shows there. The
Nice.
Metropolitan Theater,
Nice. Nice.
what is called the Met in
Mm-hmm.
Philly. I've been the only one that's been able to do shows there. I could give you so many stories about that, but to be able to do shows there,
I think
same,
Wallow and Gilly did something there recently too, didn't they?
yeah, they did their kind of, I don't know if you want to call it comedy
Yeah, I wasn't
music,
sure what to name it. It worked
but
out though.
they're my guys. Yeah, they're my guys, man. Great, great, great
Yeah,
guys.
smart fellas, man.
Talking about
They smart.
them, man. I seen their growth. Um, you know, I, in an unbelievable way. If you followed Hard Hitting, they were a big part of our success. In the beginning, they're really, really close friends of mine.
Nice.
They were really involved in our promotional aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Some years back, I mean, Wallow, Gilly, they were always at our events. They were always pushing our events. Um, and I'm so glad. I'm talking about them because I'm truly, truly happy for the success that they're having, man. It's amazing.
It's amazing and it's inspiring.
Correct, correct. Especially Wallow, you know what I mean? It just tells people, it's all about you, man. You can't let nobody stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a gentleman that was incarcerated for 20 years. Comes out and in within 5 years is
Blew it up.
it it's on the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't given to him. People
Oh no,
think
he worked
people.
hard. He worked hard.
I mean, he was in the streets from selling T-shirts off the trunk of his little car to, being anything he had to do, he would do. Man, great guy. I mean, we still stay in contact. We still talk. I mean, I'm just really, really
Mm-hmm.
happy for them. Really,
Nice,
really
yeah,
happy.
man. Yeah, y'all got a lot going on in Philadelphia, man. I come up there like once every 2 weeks, man, and I really like coming up there. I come up to Bozy Gym, watch sparring and things of that nature. You know what I mean? I hook up with Hank Lundy here and there, and Greg Hack, and all them my guys, man.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
and
Great
my,
guys. They're all
and,
great guys.
yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, I'm sorry, my next event is the 29th of this month, April 29th at the 2300 Arena. Liana Cruz will be fighting
Is
as the
that
main event.
Josephat Ortiz was on that, right?
Josephat is also on there. I mean, we got the who's who on that card. Josephat is also on there. Um, there's some people at it. Jones is gonna be back on there. The bronze medalist. She was on our last show. She's gonna be.
O'Shea? Okay.
Oh, Shay Jones. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gonna be back on.
Oh man, I gotta
Um,
come to that, bro.
yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. I mean, there's gonna be a half a female, half male card.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you know, hey, listen, the females are really gaining, not giving, gaining their respect.
Man,
I mean,
oh yeah, no doubt, man.
they're they're really gaining their respect in the game. I mean, they really go at it. They really give it their all.
Oh, that's
You
what I
know,
love about the female boxers, man. Yo, engagement forever, man. You know, when they get in that
yeah,
ring, they do not play whatsoever.
no, ever. There's no such
Yeah.
thing as
Oh yeah,
feeling
they
out
take
rounds.
risks, man. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I get it because you know they had to they had to they had to gain that respect. They had to show the fans. I mean, at the end of the day, the fans are there to get entertained, and they knew that they had to go the extra mile.
Which they do.
Unlike,
Yeah.
yeah, which they do, which they absolutely do. So kudos to them. That's my goal for this event is to
Mm-hmm.
to give them the respect that they now earn and deserve. Liana will be the first female to headline a boxing event in the city of Philadelphia for over 20 years.
Oh yeah, I definitely got to get her on the platform, man, and started talking about this. No
For
doubt.
sure, she's the first one for over 20 years. The last
Wow,
one
that's
that did it,
news.
yes, the last one that did it was Jackie Frazier.
Mm.
Was the last female that headlined a boxing event in Philadelphia. So, kudos to Liana. She deserves it. And trust and believe she's gonna be just like I said about Devin Haney when he fought on our cards.
Mm-hmm.
I think he fought about 3 times, 4 times with us.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said about Boots. Just like I said recently about Brandon, and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. So many fighters that kind of went through our stage, right? That I call it.
Mm-hmm.
That we're gonna be a major player in the sport of boxing are now today is seen, right? Liana is gonna be the next one. Baumgartner was another one. Baumgartner
Oh
fought
man,
on our
Baumgartner
card.
something else. She just blew up.
Yeah. She's another one that fought on our cards before she was with her current promoter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was another one that I remember my wife actually my wife was the one who told me that girl is gonna be a superstar.
Yes.
You know,
she got the it factor.
yeah. Yeah. Leanna is the same way. So Leanna is the same way.
Okay.
She has that it factor. She has that, that look about her. Very, very pretty young lady. Very marketable. Same grit. You know what I mean? Fighting style. I'm just gonna go in there and destroy you. And so I think this card is another testimony of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to influence a certain culture in the sport of boxing that kind of breaks down the paradigms of the sport, and how it should be run, and how it should. And I tell my fighters this all the time. The only thing I take credit for is that I'm putting in the work to build this stage. But no one in the history of boxing has paid from $5 to $50,000 to come see a promoter, whether it's Bob Arum, whether it's Al Heyman, whether it's such and such. It is not about us. It is about them.
About the fighter. That's right. That's right. Man, brother, you have definitely enlightened me on a lot of things today. I love being able to speak to people like yourself that gives us a peek behind the curtain. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't get a chance to see behind that curtain on what it really is. They only get to see what is given to them. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I wanted to speak to you. I just finished talking the other day, doing an interview with Danny Davis that works the corner with Bernard, and telling the stories about behind the scenes, you know what I mean? So people can be more educated about what's happening in the world of boxing. So I truly appreciate you for bringing that. What you say?
Yes. No, I said yes. Absolutely.
I can't hear you. Can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you. Hello. Hello. I think it's probably on the bottom left. Probably have to hit audio.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Somebody said this to me not too long ago. I wish I had your shoes. And I tell people, never wish that, first of all, especially when you don't know what those shoes went through.
Right.
Everybody wants to be like Michael Jordan, but nobody wants to do what Michael Jordan had to do to get to who you see and know now.
Exactly.
I tell people this, you really say that, have you ever lived in a shelter? No. Well, you can't be in my shoes.
That's right. Wow.
Have you ever had water with sugar because there was no milk as a kid? No, thank God I didn't. Thank God you didn't.
Right.
You can't be in my shoes.
Right.
So this is what I tell people. Don't go by what you see now. Understand that everything you're seeing now is just the accomplishment of everything that they had to go through. Find out what they had to go through to then know and understand why they're where they're at. You know what I mean?
I totally understand. It's just like a diamond. Everybody sees the finished product, but nobody knows that back in the day, it was just a lump of coal that got pressurized over the time, and they went through so much pressure to produce what it is today. So yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, my brother.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure you ask Wallow, he'll tell you. I don't want to speak for the man, but he'll tell you, if it wasn't for them 20 years in jail, he wouldn't be the man he is today. That was the process.
That's
you know what I mean?
And everybody has their own process.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own process. So with that being said, brother, God bless everyone. Hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yes.
Remember, we all have the power to make anything we want happen. What you speak becomes what it is. So when you wake up in the morning, proclaim what you want your day to be. You know, this is a beautiful day. This is going to be a prosperous day. This is going to be a successful day. That's what it'll be. Whatever you speak, it will be.
Either way.
Creator
Either way. Right.
Our Creator spoke what we see today into existence. Let it be light. There was light. Let it be. Let the waters separate from the waters, and it was so. Everything he created by speech.
And afterwards he said, and after that he said, and this is good.
And it is all good.
Yeah.
So speak it. That's been the secret to my success. However big or small that's perceived to be. It's just speaking it into reality. I'm not by the paradigms, I'm not supposed to be this guy. I'm supposed to be someone in jail, working for someone, you know, doing all the statistical beliefs that, you know, a minority, quote unquote, minority should be or should get to.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, I totally appreciate you coming on and enlightening us, man. For people that want to follow you, let them know where they can get at you at. And also shout out again the date and time for that March 29th fight.
For sure. Like I said, March 29th, 2300 Arena. History will be made. The first time a female fighter headlines a professional boxing event in the city of Philadelphia in over 20 years. It's actually the first time that a female fighter headlines at the legendary 2300 Arena. That's just history all the way around. Great card. Follow us on any of the platforms at Hard Hit Promo. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Hard Hit Promo. You can, you know, see everything that we got going on, what we got. Stay tuned. Ask us questions. You know, I'm always very active in the social media page. For my own is AMB Ambassador Manny Rivera. For my personal page, if you want to get enlightened with the culture of what I'm talking about, who I am, you know, what my goals in life is and what my purpose is. If you're interested in that, follow me on AMB Manny Rivera.
All right. Well, this is your boy Jay Hardcore Boxing News, here with Manny Rivera, Hard Hitting Promotions, and we out of here.
Blessings.
Oh man, appreciate you, bruh.